Hello, folks, and welcome to the show. My name is Asa Morris, and this is Weird Week. Thank you so much for joining us, whether again or for the first time. We are currently sitting in the middle of what is essentially the most anticipated period in not only ufology, but also from an anthropological, social, and generally humanitarian aspect. This is a big, important time. Yeah, we're all still going to work and worrying about the health and well-being of our loved ones, and all that life has to offer, good and bad. But in the face of what has been released so far by the American government, and continues to be dredged up by other governments, our very grounded sense of reality is on the cusp of shifting in no small way. It's an exciting time to be alive, to say the least. Before we get started, I just want to apologize for my absence. As anyone who follows our Twitter or listens to the podcast will know, I've been experiencing a lot of technical issues that are crippling when you're essentially scraping by as it is. But seeing as how I am here talking to you now, it seems as though I've been able to cobble together at least some sort of temporary solution until I can afford something more permanent. So thank you for sticking around during my absence, and I hope this can continue well into the future. However, that leads me to my next point. Make sure you hit up the link tree in the description for all the links to all the things, the merch, the socials, the podcast, and of course, the Patreon, especially the Patreon. Every little bit helps, even just a couple of bucks a month. I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but I love Low Strangeness, and I want to be able to continue doing this for a long time. Again, every little bit helps. All the links are in the link tree. Thank you so much. And lastly, please do the big five, which are like, comment, sub, never on the first time. Like, comment, sub, bell, share, and let's go. Because folks, normally, I at least try to stay away from older news, but because it made such a big stir this week, we're gonna get into it. On Sunday, for whatever reason, I'm still not sure, an Australian UAP report got brought to the forefront that was just filled with bizarre material. The report is 50 some odd pages of not only craft sightings and descriptions from any number of valid sources, but also at points, entity descriptions, including cat-faced entities in a mushroom-shaped craft, U.S. plans to invalidate and humiliate witnesses, and much, much more. If you've got an hour to kill, this is how you should spend it. Now, if you've got a month to kill, over 7,500 pages have been released alongside it from the Australian National Archive, detailing many strange events. The patron saint of FOIA, John Greenewald, over at the Black Vault, has compiled them all for easier dredging. A link, of course, will be in the show notes. Also on Sunday, TheHill.com reported that Dem lawmaker calls for hearings on UFOs. Congressman Andre Carson has said that because the newly unclassified report on UFOs, referred to by the Pentagon as Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAP, was largely inconclusive on the origins of more than 140 objects, additional probes are needed. My hope is that we will have a series of hearings and possibly a public hearing in the very near future, Carson said, though he did not give a specific timeline. What we do know is that there have been nearly 150 sightings, he added. 80 of those sightings have been detected with some of the best technology the world has ever seen. Now, as I'm sure you all know by now, and as I discussed on the most recent episode of the podcast, at least publicly, there seems to already be the intention of further studies and reports. I hope, at least with public officials pushing for it, that we will get more of these, and maybe some that reflects the data that's popping up in other governments' reports in a timelier fashion. But like always, I'm probably just hoping for too much. Just realized I wrote that segment a little depressingly. Good. On Monday, also kind of old news that popped up and made an impact this week. And speaking of other governments just throwing in the towel and releasing a massive amount of data, 9,500 documents, not pages, documents, are now available from the Canadian Archive. Now, this has been available for at least a couple of years, and why it's being brought to the public forefront, I'm not sure. Maybe people are just doing a lot more digging lately. Whatever the reason, I'm glad it's here. The database holds reports covering sightings, reports, and even full investigations into UFOs and all things related. I have not had the chance to comb it yet. I mean, it's almost 10,000 documents. But if a 58-page Australian report covers cat aliens, what am I going to find in 9,500 documents? If you go through it, let me know what you find. We've all got a lot of work ahead of us. Also on Monday, Avi Loeb, the former chair of the astronomy department at Harvard, among many other notable titles, posted an essay titled "Getting a Megapixel Image of a UAP." Within the essay, he discusses the fact that, as he correctly puts it, policymakers or military personnel have insufficient training in science and no authority over unexpected phenomena in the sky. He writes that the scientific community should be at the forefront of this movement, and what we need to really begin to push for progress here is a megapixel shot of a UAP, one that can be carefully scrutinized and analyzed and discussed. He certainly isn't wrong. And if what certain people are saying is true, we may have these images already, though we'll probably have better luck just going out and getting them ourselves. God, what is with me today? Just all these nihilist endings to the segments. This week, I really wanted to stay away from UAP vids for a couple of reasons, as I recently discussed while speaking on someone else's podcast. More on that in the future. It seems to be all I'm talking about, really. And that's mostly due to oversaturation of the topic and losing everything else in the noise. On top of that, this was also the week of the 4th of July, and there was bound to be tons of shit in the sky that was just waiting to be misidentified. However, there's one shot that I'm going to let through that little gate I've put up. On Tuesday, in my current home of Austin, Texas, Redditor Wanderer0503 posted a live photo of what appears to be a Tic Tac in the sky over the city. Now again, this is only a live photo, so we only get a few frames. And while it seems fairly convincing at first, there are some attributes that make me question it. First, it's shot from South Austin, facing north. This is a high air traffic area. Second, there seems to be a shadow in the middle of the object, potentially indicating a wing that is rendered otherwise invisible due to the admittedly gorgeous lighting. Most likely, but not certainly, this is a plane. On Wednesday, making his second appearance on this episode, John Greenewald of the Black Vault took to Reddit to let us all know that he had put in a FOIA request for the 70-plus page congressional UAP report. He wrote, "My MDR case under 32 CFR 1704 is progressing quicker than I thought thus far. The document is already being reviewed and other government agencies are being coordinated with. As of early this morning, I may actually be hopeful something will be released from it within 6 weeks, not years. I will continue to update, but please know things can absolutely change in this process. I will give only the best estimates and information I am given to update you all, but these processes can be delayed or changed for whatever reason. If so, don't hold it against me." So fingers crossed! Also on Wednesday, Christopher Mellon posted to his personal blog a few of his thoughts on the current situation. He seems mostly pleased and pleasantly surprised at a transparency that I'm not sure I took from the report. He also says that the report strengthens his view that the extraterrestrial hypothesis is the correct one, even though the report dances around it quite capably. He poses a few unanswered questions and ends with a plea to the public and the media to not outright dismiss the ET hypothesis, as few other explanations seem to hold any water. He's right about that, for sure. We are running out of mundane answers. Seven years ago, you already know where I'm going with this, Throwawalien made their now infamous post on Reddit detailing their apparent experiences being abducted, and made a claim that in July of 2021, either the 8th or the 18th, contact would officially be made. Well, on Thursday, the 8th, incredibly, nothing happened. So recently, Stephen Greer, who led or leads the Disclosure Project and sells the knowledge to contact UFOs via his CE5 retreats, and who was also recently exposed for dropping flares during said retreats and telling people they were UFOs, put out a documentary, which I don't think needs to be named, in which he claims folks like Elizondo, or melon, are all basically full of shit. Obviously, this was met with a lot of pushback, and most folks didn't even bother to entertain the idea. Well, on Friday, one of the people in the documentary, Danny Sheehan, put out a statement on his Facebook regarding some, let's call it fanciful editing on Greer's part. The statement is lengthy, and for good reason, but a summation was boiled down by Redditor Strength Speed, who says, basically, Danny Sheehan believes both Melon and Elizondo are legit and said so, but he feels there's a small group of people, a cabal, trying to hide things from the public. He thinks Greer is wrong and said so in the interview. Greer feels the government's recent report is a false flag that is setting the stage for a fake alien invasion. Greer took Sheehan's words about the cabal out of context and used it in his own video to imply Sheehan was indicating Elizondo and Melon were part of the cabal, and he agreed with Greer, which is 100% the opposite of what Sheehan was saying. So basically, Greer is a lying fuckwit, which many people already agree with. And that's not even the only person to come out against Greer this week. But let's not spend too much time just publicly shitting on people. On Saturday, the always reliable and solid journalists over at the US Sun posted an article with one of the better titles I've seen all year. UFOs aren't coming from space, but from beneath the sea, as craft spotted buzzing US Navy claims alien hunting ex-cop. Hell yeah. Besides the ridiculous sensationalism from a not-so-respected outlet, the idea isn't new and has even been discussed with building legitimacy in more serious outlets. This article discusses statements from Gary Hesseltine, the vice president of the New International Coalition for Extraterrestrial Research, which is made up of UFO researchers and scientists from 27 countries. He states, UFOs are often seen coming in and out of water, so we suspect that in our deepest oceans and trenches, we may well have alien bases. That sounds crazy, but if you think about it, we only know 5% of our ocean. We know more about the surface of the moon or Mars than our own oceans. So that would seem to me why UFOs are seen regularly coming in and out of the water. Alright, so I don't necessarily think he's wrong, and maybe it's just the way he's being quoted or represented in the article. There are already a number of typos in it. But it seems to me that the Sun has gone out of their way, especially with the alien hunting ex-cop moniker, to make the theory and Gary Hesseltine sound much crazier. I mean, we've already seen official video of transmedium craft. It isn't that crazy. I almost forgot. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, so things fall out. It's time for that special segment. The most serious segment. The most creepy segment. Paranormal goofy shit. I can't believe that's the one that's stuck. Oh my god. This week, just a quick little meme I saw while digging around in various subreddits. Skinwalker, you say? Pfft, a classy gent knows they are but flesh pedestrians. Anyway, that's our week. If you see something that you would like me to take a look at, either for this show or the podcast, hit us up on any of the socials or directly at lowstrangeness@gmail.com. If you would like more in-depth discussion of various reports or sightings or, I don't know, fucking dreams you've had. If you would like more in-depth discussion of various aspects of the phenomena, make sure you check out the podcast, Low Strangeness. That's going to be too much. Low Strangeness. It's available anywhere that podcasts are available. Right now, we are in the first half of season 2. Just follow it. Tell everyone how much you love it. You love it. Honestly, word of mouth is so immensely important. So I would honestly appreciate it if you just told people about it, please. If you dig it, share it. Thank you. Also, please check out my friends over at the Graveyard Goons. I don't know why I did the hand thing. The Graveyard Goons. A paranormal themed prank call show. It's hilarious and they're great folks. Give them a sub. Or catch one of their live streams and join in. Tell them I sent you. There's no prize for that or anything, but, you know, it'd be nice of you. Anyway, once again, I am Asa Morris. Thank you so much for joining us, whether again or for the first time. Don't forget to like, comment, sub, bell, share, all of it. Make sure you hit up our link tree for all the links to all the things, merch, podcasts, socials, and of course the Patreon. I'm going to keep reinforcing that. Please take care of yourselves and the people around you, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. What I'm sure I'll say,